Welcome to the 420 Somewhere podcast. I'm your host, 420. Let's get this smoke set started. So first thing I'm going to cover today is Weed 101. That's when we're going to talk about the strain of the week. We're going to talk about what I've been smoking on. Good old wedding cake. The parent of the strain is Triangle Kush and Animal Mints. Both strains I love so much. This is a indica dominant strain. So it's 60% indica and 40% sativa. It tastes very sweet. So it's like a combination of like cookies, the sweetness of a cookie, and then like the fruitiness of like a cherry. Like when you're tasting it, it tastes kind of fruity, but mostly sweet. The aromas, what it smells like, it's very almost like citrusy, but it also has like a woody scent too. Like when you really sniff it, it literally smells like a pine tree almost. But it has citrus, like a high amount of citrus when you. It was created by Seed Junkies Genetics. This is the first strain I think I've tried of Seed Junkie, but I like it. I dig it. It looks very fiery and orange, but with lots of bright green. It relieves symptoms of chronic pain, depression, loss of appetite, and if you have trouble sleeping, that's your strain. Just saying, because it's highly indica dominant, so it's gonna knock you out. So anyways, enough with the weed talk, right? We're here for the real shit. Let's learn about some swingers. So we're gonna go into my next segment, Taboo 101, and we're gonna talk about swingers. There's couple swingers, and then there's also people that partake in the swingers community that are single. So it's not always, couples when you say swingers. Like you could be a swinger and you could be single. You could be a single person. Swinging is a form of consensual non-monogamy in which both singles and couples in a committed relationship can explore sexual activities with others recreational or socially. So essentially you could be, like I just said, you could be a single person or you could be a couple, and you're basically partaking in sexual activities. It's not really a romantic relationship. You're not there for feelings, really. It's mostly for sex. Consensual monogamy, non-monogamy, usually involves three forms. So there's three types of relationships when you talk about consensual non-monogamy. The first one is polyamory. So I've talked a little bit about polyamory in one of my previous podcast episodes. So the second one is open relationships, and then the third one is swingers. They're not all the same. Everybody, it's the misconception. Everybody thinks that they're all the same. They are not. They're very different. The first one is that poly couples have multiple romantic relationships. So it's literally that like your significant other has multiple relationships that are meaningful. It's not just sex. It's like they care about their day. Like they could be in love with numerous people. It's not just one person that you're in love with. You're in love with a sea of people. Like it's multiple relations. An open relationship, that's purely just sexual. And, you go about your business. It's usually like a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation with open relationships. It's like, you're open. So you get to have sex with whoever. But just you're the only one partaking in those sexual activities. And then swingers, that's when you bring your partner into it, essentially have fun together and you essentially play together. Then that's what swinging is. That's the difference between all of them. It's like the first two, you're essentially by yourself. And then the last one with swingers is like you're actually enjoying the sexual activities with your partner. So now that we got the differences out of the way, how do swingers swing? So there's multiple different ways swingers can swing. Swingers usually tend to do like social events like swingers clubs or swingers conventions, or they have resorts for swingers. So some people go there and like they have sex parties, like exclusive private sex parties and stuff that people go to, and they'll meet other swinger couples, and then, they'll end up, maybe having sex with that couple multiple times a week, or, it's just a meeting. Basically, it's how they open the doors to swingers. And it's funny because they say the symbol for swingers is an upside down pineapple. I've never heard of a swinger use that or whatever, but I've heard it as a myth that that's a swingers thing, but apparently that's not a thing anymore, of the upside down pineapple. I thought that was interesting. I saw that in my research. Most swingers prefer couple swapping or threesomes instead of the whole big orgy party kind of thing. Most people tend to just that's like their stepping stone. That's their starters to go to a sex party, and then that's how they meet different people, and then from there they kind of build their own little, play times, as they call it. They're just like, we're gonna fuck so and so and on Monday, and then we're gonna fuck so and so on Tuesday. Like, you have your schedules of your play times, and that's how you build your schedule, I guess, for playtime, is by going to these sex parties. That's how you meet people. But that's the most preferred way, is to do threesomes or to just engage in couple swapping. So there's a difference of a full swap and a soft swap. I didn't even know that there was a thing called soft swapping. I thought swapping was just swapping, but apparently not. So the full swap is the full force, like couple swapping, where you're literally like, switching partners. So you could fuck whoever you want. It's whatever. You could stick whatever holes in whatever. Like, it's basically intercourse. Like, you could go in and out everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter whose hole it is. If they're in the room, then it counts. So that's full on a full swap. That's a hard swap. A soft swap is when you're just partaking in like touching, or you're just, you could give oral sex, like, as long as it's not penetration. Like, and even some people do like parallel play, where you're having sex with your partner, and then the other couple's having sex with their partner, and it's like you guys are just like, parallel to each other. But most cases, it's like there's some oral play in it, some touching, some fingering. So that's allowed in soft swapping. Now we're going to go into some swingers terms. So with swinging community comes swinging terminology. So you need to know the terms before you go swinging and you go talking to people, because you're not going to know what the fuck they're talking about. And then you're going to get yourself into some weird situations. You don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to let y'all know about the terms. First one, voyeurism. Voyeurism is the practice of getting sexually aroused from watching others have sex. Now, a voyeurist can watch at swingers clubs. They can watch at this thing called like hotel takeovers, which means you're basically taking over like a Marriott or like, some hotel. You say that there's a swingers takeover happening, and then they empty out like a conference room, and they like black out all the windows, and it's like a whole different type of vibe for hotel takeover. So voyeurists can go there, and they could just watch other people have sex. They don't have to partake. They could just watch. They have a watching area. They also have this thing called like a fishbowl for people. That's at clubs though. That's at sex clubs when they have the fishbowl, and you can just watch. You're like in a fishbowl, and you're just having people watch you. So that's where the voyeurist would go ahead and watch you, would be through the fishbowl. They would also partake in like swingers parties or like threesomes. They could just be watching. They don't have to be a part of it. They're just there to watch. Anyone can be a voyeur as well. So like if you have a husband and wife, the husband can be a voyeur, or the wife can be a voyeur, or it could be a third party watching the couple. Like anybody can be a voyeur. That's the whole joy of it. And technically, we're all voyeurs if we're watching porn, because we're watching other people fuck. So really, we're all voyeurists. Number 2, exhibitionism. The practice of getting sexually enjoyed or pleasure from having an audience. So basically, you're on the other side of voyeurism. You're the one that is showing off. You like being watched. I feel like that would be me. I feel like I could be an exhibitionist just having people watch me. I don't think it would be weird for me. I think I'd get enjoyment out of it. Exhibitionists love to film themselves having sex, and they like to like film themselves like playing with themselves, and they like sending it out to people, and they get enjoyment from like other people watching them come, or like they get enjoyment by viewing others get aroused by them, if that makes sense. Like someone finds you like mad hot, mad sexy, you're like, okay, cool, like I like this. So you know, you can have people watch you sometimes, and it's not weird. They basically fantasize about having people watch them in public. Like that's the whole thing. They get a kick out of that. So even just public sex, like just, you know, anything. Number 3, bull. What is a bull? A bull is a single male that is a part of the swingers lifestyle. They basically perform sex acts. It could be on the wife, it could be on the husband, like it just has to be on one of them though. And then they're being watched. But it's the male version of like a unicorn. So it's like the male is kind of, or the bull is kind of essential, because if you're like in a cuckold situation, then you kind of need a bull to perform. And that's very, very rare to find a bull. A bull is not something you come across every day, because it's weird to have somebody watch you while you fuck their woman, or, you know, whatever, vice versa. It's very rare to come across, but that's what a bull is. If you didn't know, now you do. And like I said before, it's the opposite of a unicorn. So a unicorn is a single female that's part of the swingers lifestyle. And they are typically bisexual, so they end up playing with both parties as opposed to just one while the other one watches. They can do that, like, you know, a unicorn can basically, you know, have sex with the woman and then the husband is watching. Like it could kind of go both ways, but usually the unicorn partakes in sexual activities with both parties, not just one. I'm gonna have 3 places that you can go if you want to check out a swingers party or swingers shindig. Usually it's by invite only. They're not genuinely open to the public. It's not like you could just walk in there and be like, hey, I want to watch some people have sex. Like, no, you have to know a guy. You have to know a person that knows a person. You have to get invited. It's very exclusive. First one I got here is called Trapeze. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a sex club. Very highly exclusive sex club. They have other locations, but the main one that's like up and popping is the one in Atlanta. Second one is called SNCTM. It's literally abbreviations. I don't know what it abbreviates for. I tried to figure it out. Like I looked everywhere. I don't know what it stands for. I guess you won't know until you go there. Then you know what the hell that means. It's at various locations, but like the main one that's up and popping is of course New York City. So that's like a highly luxury sex club, like VIP type shit. Like you gotta like I said, know a person that knows a person to get up in there. Lastly, the third one, which is also highly, highly exclusive, guys. These are very top-notch sex clubs. Like you literally have to have an invite. They don't have a location. They send you the location. Like that's how highly top-notch it is and exclusive. It's called Intimate in New York City. But these are all city-based ones except for Trapeze. And yeah, that was a fun little ride we had for this little podcast that I had of swingers.